Hi friends, and welcome back to part 2 of our CVC6 body composition training. In this session, we're going to be looking at training techniques for fat loss and focusing in on the cardiovascular techniques that we'd be using to help target these things. So guys, if you're ready to rock and you've got your pen and your paper ready to take some notes, then come on in. So some guidelines when we're talking about losing weight for our clients is to establish a set parameter for these clients. We're looking to aim for around about 0.5 or 500 grams to 1 kilogram per week for a safe and maintainable weight loss for our clients. Sometimes we will get a little bit over or under these, and we need to understand that our clients' lifestyle and genetics are going to play around with these numbers slightly. But for general purposes, these are the weight ranges that we should be expecting for our clients to be able to maintain that weight loss over a long period of time. We need to remember that any type of weight loss is, of course, great as well. And when we talk about weight loss, we're talking about predominantly the fat. We want to maintain lean muscle mass because it's really important as we age, and we're targeting that body fat to come down. Higher intensities essentially have been shown to target abdominal fat, like we visited in the previous session, which is also known as that central obesity. So as our clients get fitter, we can really hone in on upping the intensities to help bring down that central obesity in any clients that may be starting to have that or does already have that. We want to, of course, establish a great base, set the foundation, and then slowly build our clients up over time as the intensities get higher. And of course, as with all types of exercise, it's not just about the cardiovascular side of things, but also the resistance training is important to also program. Our clients should be putting down lean muscle mass and doing cardiovascular activities to help keep those calories burning while they're at rest too. It's important to educate our clients to lay down lean muscle mass and also not to focus just on the weight loss side of things and the scale reading, but essentially looking at how they're becoming stronger and leaner from their training with you. So there are a few different ways that we're going to look at how we can look at cardiovascular training for weight loss. We want to look at either doing cardiovascular training in a long, slow distance type of scenario or continuous aerobic training, or we can do our interval training. Now, both of these things are very good for our clients, and it all comes down to, number one, their likes and dislikes, but also their activity levels that they're currently at and their fitness levels. Starting off with continuous aerobic training, we are looking at long, slow distance generally, or LSD training. And this will be things like long walks, long runs, long cycles, long swims, all that sort of stuff there. This can be sometimes boring for our clients, but it's up to us to try and bring some fun into it, because this is where we want to establish a good fitness base for our clients to help bring their cardiovascular activities up and slowly grow that fitness level. As they get more and more fit, we can of course push up those intensities and start bringing those into play with our interval training. We've of course got HIIT training, which is definitely massive in the industry right now with high intensity intervals. We've got multiple stages with that HIIT training and of course other types of interval training. And then we've got supermax, maximal, and fartlek type intervals that we can also give to our clients to give some variation to their training and keep it fun and interesting. All of these also help really hone in on the body fat that we're trying to lose in our clients. The biggest thing is we need to build up to this over time. So don't be afraid to slowly bring yourselves into this. We want to make sure that our clients can essentially walk before they run. So I'm going to show you a few different programs over the next couple of slides. Feel free to pause at any time to really read through these and take some notes if you wish to. And don't be afraid to go back to your ebooks where you can find examples of these programs as well. So let's start with continuous aerobic training. Now, I always love coming into class and talking about continuous aerobic training and seeing who loves to go for a run or a cycle. And it's so funny because personal trainers on a general basis, I'm being very general here, apologies, we don't do a lot of cardio. We like to lift weights, but sometimes we forget about the cardio side of things. Continuous aerobic training for me is something that I love doing to help release those endorphins, get outside and just enjoy some time in my own head to just set things out. And that's what I get my clients to also think about, is having this time to themselves to get outside, get some fresh air, and just be in their own space for a little bit. Now, because the type of intensity varies between client to client and their fitness levels, we can go anything between 3 and 6 days per week with this type of training. So we can get most days of the week for our clients doing this lower intensity type training. The intensity that we're going to be working at is between 70 and 85% of your heart rate max. And the types that we can do, well, there's so many different types that you can do. You can go for a walk, you can go for a run, a cycle, you can get on in the pool, and go for a swim. But the biggest thing is we can also create a multi-mode approach, which you can see in the text just here, where we can change in the gym between different bits of apparatus to keep it enjoyable. If our clients aren't enjoying the long, slow distance stuff in the gym, get them outdoors if they do that. And if they've got a favorite tune to listen to, or even a dog that they can walk with, these are all things to bring some fun into that side of training and keep them doing that as well. Of course, enjoying it is going to bring them back. So we're looking at slowly building up to around about 30 to 60 minutes for this, and then it can go on from there. If your client is loving this and wants to do, your 10K runs, your half marathons, all that sort of stuff, this is a great base to start with and build from there. Looking at some sort of weekly plan, we can establish a few things here too. So let's say that we've got a beginner client. We're going to go through an intermediate and advanced program as well for our clients. On a Monday, we may have a 40-minute run at 70% of their heart rate max. If we've got that on the Monday, the Tuesday should be low intensity or a rest day to allow their body to recuperate from that run. So here we've got this client doing a 60-minute active recovery or 60-minute walk. On the Wednesday, we're doing the same thing as Monday and the same thing on Friday with 2 rest days in between. On our Saturday, we're probably going out for a bit of an extended hike to just help burn as many calories as possible. And then we've got a full day of rest, which is important to establish in our clients and make sure that, number one, they're not overdoing it, but number two, also giving their body to rest, relax, and be nice to their bodies as well. Next is our intermediate client. You can see that our intensities have gone up. We're still doing 3 days per week with the active recovery in between. A full day of rest still on the Sunday, but the biggest thing is we've upped the time and we've also upped the intensity because our fitness of our intermediate client is going to be able to hold on to something like that. Last but not least, guys, we have got our advanced clients. So they're running a bit further distance. They're going for 90 minutes at 80% of our heart rate max, so a higher intensity again, with our active recovery as well, and then our full day of rest right at the end. It's important to also chuck some resistance training in amongst this weekly plan to make sure that the body's muscles are being worked as well to maintain this type of intensity. Now, to go from beginner to an advanced program like this may take some clients years to establish. So don't think that this is going to be a quick journey to get your client from a nice, easy breezy 40-minute run at 70% of their heart rate max right up to a 90-minute run at 80%. It takes a lot of time and planning, and that would be more of a performance-based goal at the end of the day, not necessarily a weight loss goal. So if we're looking at fat loss, we can play around with those intensities. And remember, these higher intensities are going to really start burning those fats at rest as well when we start eliciting EPOC. When we talk about EPOC, we usually associate this one with more the interval training that you have with your clients too. So the types that we're going to be looking at is supramaximal interval training. And again, feel free to pause this to read through this slide if you wish. However, due to the intensity of this, we're wanting to bring the number of sessions back to only about 2 to 3 sessions per week. So remembering back to our long slow distance, we're going up to 6 days per week. This you can see we're only doing a maximum of 3 sessions per week. Now this type of training we're doing around about 4 to 6 sprints of around about 30 seconds at all out intensity. We then have a self-selected 1 to 4 minute rest at a lower intensity. And we might be doing this over a period of time. And in a great example, I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Tabata training, where we've got 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest, and we do that for 4 to 8 minutes. Oh, there we are, 4 to 8 minutes for a training session. That's a type of supramaximal training. If you've never tried that, give that one a go if your fitness levels allow it, to really see what this type of training can really elicit in the body. Now the types of exercise, again, it should be self-selected by the client, so it should be enjoyable, but generally because of the type of training and the types of intensity you need to get out, is usually running or cycling is the easiest forms to utilize here. For a session like this, we would be bringing down the total time because the intensity that we're working at to around about 20 to 30 minutes. Next one here, guys, is our maximal interval training. Again, because the intensity is up a little bit higher, we're only doing 2 to 3 sessions per week. We're looking at a heart rate max of around about 90 to 95% of our heart rate max. Sorry for repeating myself there, and intervals of around about 2 to 4 minutes each. So you can see the intervals are a little bit longer, but that heart rate has come down a little bit. So it's not an all-out effort, it's just below that. Now that is still a long time to go at that heart rate, but we're now coming down to a shorter rest period of 1 to 2 minutes at a self-selected lower intensity as well. Again, this can be a multi-mode approach, so your clients can jump between a few different pieces in the gym, but essentially it's usually cardio equipment that is continuous in nature. Again, running and cycling are quite often the ones that are chosen because of the ease of that. Now, because the type of training is also a little bit lower in intensity, we can extend the training out a little bit more as well. But essentially, as our clients get a little bit fitter, we can, of course, go up to a 60-minute session as well. So make sure that your clients are resting for these. And last but not least is fartlek training. So fartlek training is something that originated in Sweden, and it comes from the term randomized intervals or speed play. Now, these randomized intervals, both in duration and intensities, can keep it fun for your clients. You may see this when you select a program on, say, a treadmill in the gym, where you've got intervals that are higher and lower, extended out, and that's essentially fartlek training or randomized intervals. Now, again, because of the type of training, usually running and cycling is the most commonly used. And we're looking at around about 40 to 60 minutes, including work and rest intervals. Now, this can be something that is really good for a client that gets bored easily, because there's going to be differences in the training. It's not structured. It's a little bit all over the place. And we're working at a heart rate max of about 70 to 90% over this time. So shorter intervals are going to be higher in the heart rate, longer intervals a little bit lower in that heart rate, and of course bringing down those recovery intervals as well. Team, if you haven't tried fartlek, it's a fantastic way to train, and it's something that I really enjoy because of that randomized approach too. So guys, what I want you to do is think about burning. I want you to pause this recording and let me just give you a little bit of a pre-frame here. So we're going to set up a weekly plan for Bernie. She wants to lose weight. She wants indoor training and hates running. So remember that, no treadmill work. Bernie has been training at the gym for the last 6 months. Pause this here and then write up a little bit of a weekly plan with the information that you've got. So again, set up a weekly plan for Bernie. She wants to lose weight. She wants indoor training and hates running. She's been training at the gym for the last 6 months. So with that, writing up a Monday to Sunday plan, just from a cardiovascular standpoint, and when you're ready, hit play and we can go over what you've got. So team, I hope you've got a few things down there, and I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, I need a little bit more information, and you'd be correct. You would want to go into a little bit more investigation into what Bernie likes and dislikes as well. But something to start with would be something like 2 to 3 times a week to start with, like our very first programs with the long, slow distance, something with a rest day after your training sessions. And as we build up over the next couple of months, we can start chucking in some intervals as well. Now, she's already been at the gym for the last 6 months, so we may be able to chuck in some lower intensity intervals to start getting her ready for those higher intervals later down the track. So guys, hopefully that clears up a few things, and it comes down to your imagination and really understanding your clients when we start looking at these programs. So team, that's a little bit about cardiovascular training for weight loss, or fat loss, I should say. And with this, there's going to be things that your clients like and don't like. There'll be things that work with your clients and they don't work. So it's really about keeping these guys on track and making sure that they're accountable for these things. If it all makes sense, then we're rocking and rolling, and don't be afraid to come back to any of this content or review these programs in your ebooks at a later date as well. Let your imagination take charge and really start bringing cardiovascular training to life, because that's going to help maintain weight loss or fat loss in our clients. If you're ready to rock and roll, guys, I'm going to see you at our next part, part 3, where we're going to bring in the resistance training principles for fat loss. See you then, guys.